Everyone is aware of 2 months long standoff between India and China. In this video, we will try to see why is China up and what will be the result of the standoff between both the countries at the Doklam Plateau. You are watching Tea Table Analyst. I am your host Pragat Dutt. This whole incident is occurring beside Indian state of Sikkim. Sikkim joined India in 1975 as its 22nd state. The Lepcha people are the original inhabitants of Sikkim. India shares total of nearly 3,500 kilometers long border with China, in which 220 kilometers lies with Sikkim. Actually, the standoff is nothing but just to prove who is the boss in the region. The philosophy of China is to fight war in the territory of others. So it has acquired the aggressive strategy, which is kind of ironic because the general identity of Chinese people is not so. China is in this way surrounding India in a series of projects, also called a string of pearls, in India's own backyard, the Indian Ocean, and investing in India's neighbors heavily. We'll see where all and what all China has invested in India's neighborhood. The first neighbor is China's favorite ally, all-weathered friend, Pakistan. China-Pakistan economic corridor is one of the biggest investments from one country into the infrastructure of another country in the history of humankind. It is a fillip to the dying Pakistani economy. Our other neighbor, Myanmar, China has proposed investment of nearly $10 billion of special economic zones and oil pipeline, which is going from the city in China to all the way to deep sea port in Myanmar. In Nepal, which is ethnically too similar to India, it has bagged investment of nearly $8.3 billion. It includes special economic zone and hydropower unit, also an international airport. This investment is increasing year by year. In case of Sri Lanka, recently a development took place with Sri Lanka where China signed $1.1 billion deal to take 70% stake in Hambantota port. This is kind of concern for India as this will escalate Chinese submarine patrolling in the Indian Ocean. China has already given loan of $8 billion and also have promised loan of further $24 billion for the OBOR initiative to Sri Lanka. Other than deep sea port, it has also developed an international airport in the country. In case of Bangladesh, Bangladesh recently took delivery of a pair of Chinese Ming class Type 035B diesel electric submarine. It is a $203 million deal which took place in 2013, which is basically Bangladesh receiving submarine of 70s decade. Bhutan, which has no proper channel with China, still China sends circus acrobats, clown actors and footballer to this tiny nation. China has been claiming certain areas of India as hers and even going ahead of having Chinese name of certain area. There are 3 points with India where trouble occurs with China: western sector, middle sector and the eastern sector. Eastern sector, which is brewing for past 2 months, and western sector, which lies, Ladakh lies in western sector. China is trying to open another front, as we can see in the strategy of Art of War, which clearly states of opening of more than one front into the enemy's territory so that one can be negotiated in place of others. This also justifies their regular incursions. Now we will look into the recent incidences of incursions by Chinese army or Chinese PLA. Chinese choppers recently violated Indian airspace in Uttarakhand. Few other incidences also occurred in Sikkim in 2008 and 2009. Sikkim usually happens to be a peaceful area, but incidences like this shows they want to open another front. China also does this with a smaller nation with whom it has trouble in South China Sea. Now we will look into the relationship between India and Bhutan. India and Bhutan Friendship Treaty of 1949, which happened on August 8. The treaty states that both the nations won't interfere in each other's internal affair. However, Bhutan agreed to let India guide its foreign policy, and both nations would consult each other closely on foreign and defense affairs. It was revised in 2007. India renegotiated the 1949 treaty with Bhutan and signed a new treaty of friendship in 2007. The new treaty replaced the provision of requiring Bhutan to take India's guidance on foreign policy with broader sovereignty and not require Bhutan to obtain India's permission over arms import. Neither side should allow use of its territory for misuse of national interest of others. This whole Doklam incident occurred. Basically, Doklam is an area with plateau and a valley lying between China's Chumbi Valley to the north, Bhutan's Har Valley to the east, and India's Sikkim state to the west. It has been depicted as part of Bhutan in the Bhutanese map since 1961, but it is also claimed by the China. As one can see clearly, this area lies in Bhutanese territory. Chinese were taken by surprise at the Tri-Junction area near the Nathula Pass by the Indian Army when they were constructing motorable road. Now we will further see in 82nd incident session of Bhutan, as China claims that Bhutan acknowledges, but in 82nd session of Bhutan, which happened in 2004 June, noted during the 16th round of China-Bhutan boundary talks, it was decided to exchange 1:500,000 scale maps with the respective claim lines. The Chinese delegation, however, did not bring the map with claim lines. The Yadong County of China claims all the Tri-Junction area belongs to China. This straight line is the line claimed by China, which all the way goes to the Doklam Plateau. Now when we see in history, in 1861 map of British era shows this plateau under Bhutanese territory very clearly. On the ground, however, Indians have moved in from Dokla to block the Chinese building a road to the Zomperi or Jamperi Ridge. This ledge-like structure overlooking the low-lying hills of Bhutan gives a clear overview to the Siliguri corridor. By getting a place top of Mount Ginpoche, which happens to be the highest ridge and which is supposed to be the part of Bhutan, the narrow Siliguri corridor, which is at place as thin as 17 kilometers, shall come under direct artillery firing of the Chinese. Siliguri corridor is India's chicken neck. Any occupation of this area shall cut the northeast of India from the rest of India, and hence this happens to be a very strategic position in any attempt of war. Whether China and India will have a war, and if war happens, who shall win, will be dealt in the next video. In scenario of the war, at the present state, Indian army is ready and has edge over China. I'm going to tell few of the things which makes a war more inclined towards India and why this whole Doklam incident was necessary. Indian and Bhutanese armies, which is 16,000 in number, are located on a higher ground than China at the border at present. Indian artillery can easily target Chinese posts for longer distance as they are basically located on flat plateau. Indian Air Force has recently activated all the forward posts which will help Indian fighter jets to target deep inside Chinese territory. However, Chinese air bases are located at higher sea level than the Indian bases. This makes them hard to fly with heavy payloads. And Indian air superiority fighter jets like Sukhoi M30 MKI can easily fly with heavier loads. Their military complexes are too far away, which shall make war a very costly and ineffective if it happens for the Chinese army. China has started making bridge on line of actual control near Ladakh. Its chest thumping is all-time high and threatening every time for war. We will have to see what happens in state of war. Who is prepared? Is position going to affect? Is war or skirmish going to be a good option for India and China? How are countries going to react in a state of war? Is there any way problem in Korean Peninsula, East or South China Sea going to affect this scenario? We shall see those in the next video. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe T-Table Analyst.